Kore Mapenduka, and welcome to Africa Good Morning, the show that keeps you up to date with the latest news in Africa and beyond. I am Glenora Shipura, joined by Diana Master. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th. Should we cross our fingers? What happens on Friday the 13th?
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Okay.
Nothing bad will happen. It's going to be a great day.
Yes, it will, for sure.
All right, now let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Dr. Nandipha Magudumana opens a case over alleged prison assault. Peacekeepers suspended over sex abuse claims in DR Congo, and Kenya to end deal with Cuban doctors. A little later on in the show, we'll be bringing you news from Zambia with Mike Sichula. Stick around after the break. We'll return with our top stories.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Let's get into your top stories. In another twist of events, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana has opened a criminal case against the Department of Correctional Services alleging assault. Magudumana claims she was assaulted at the Bisa Makate Correctional Center in Kroonstad, where she is detained in the prison's hospital wing. Free State Police confirmed a case of common assault was registered at Parkwyk Police Station in Bloemfontein on Wednesday. The matter will be transferred to Kroonstad Detective Services for further investigations. Now, no arrests have been made at this time. Police spokesperson Brigadier Montanatsi Machele said Magudumana failed to appear before the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court on Wednesday after she collapsed in a holding cell. Her lawyer, Machini Mutlong, told the media his client was unwell. She is facing charges of fraud, corruption, arson, violation of her body, and defeating the ends of justice for her alleged role in the prison escape of convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester. The state has since withdrawn charges against G4S employees Nasacha Jansen, Tabank Matthews Mir, and Mokhetsi April Ramulula, who were among the accused in the matter. In an interview with SABC News, Jansen said she had nothing to do with Bester's escape, insisting that she was framed.
Now, the UN peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo says it has suspended some of its peacekeepers in response to reports of serious misconduct. It said it had a policy of zero tolerance for sexual exploitation and abuse. AFP News Agency reports the accusations are against 8 South African peacekeepers. The MONUSCO mission has faced previous accusations of sexual abuse. It has, more than 14,000 troops in eastern DR Congo. In recent years, there have been several protests against the UN, which is accused of failing to protect civilians against attacks by numerous armed groups.
Swinging over to East Africa, Kenya will end a 6-year agreement that allowed more than 100 Cuban doctors to work in Kenyan hospitals. Health Minister Susan Nakumicha said on Wednesday that the move will help address challenges faced by Kenyan health workers, including the lack of employment opportunities. We have decided not to renew the agreement with the Cuban doctors. Our very own healthcare professionals are committed to the cause, she said. A 2017 deal established an exchange program in which Cuban doctors would help fill the gap in country hospitals, while Kenyans would travel to Cuba for specialized medical training. It was unpopular with Kenyan medical professionals who argued that local doctors had the requisite training just as their Cuban counterparts did. There were also concerns that the Kenyan government was paying the Cuban professionals much more than their Kenyan counterparts, even as some locally trained doctors remained unemployed.
Now, the Nigerian President Bola Tinubu-led federal government has unveiled a bill aimed at regulating digital platforms. The proposed legislation, which has been submitted to the National Assembly, seeks to repeal and reenact the National Broadcasting Commission Act, CAPL 11, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004. During a meeting at the Commission's headquarters with Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Balarabe Ilela, the Director General of the NBC, referred to social media as a monster and emphasized the need for the bill. He explained that the existing law does not provide He explained that the existing law does not provide the NBC with the authority to oversee and regulate social media platforms. Ilela informed the public that a bill for an act to repeal and amend the National Broadcasting Commission Act has been read for the first time on the floor of the National Assembly. Highlighting the pressing issue of social media, Ilela explained, one of our major problems now is social media. Unless there's a law that allows NBC to address social media issues, the problem will persist in our daily lives in this country. Local media reported. Ilela disclosed that in 2023, the NBC had issued 1,238 warnings and 6 different stations had faced penalties for violations of existing regulations.
Mali's ruling junta have cancelled the authorization given to French flag carrier Air France to resume operations and services to the country. 2 senior Malian officials and an air transport official gave the update on Wednesday, less than 24 hours after news went around that Air France will resume services to Mali from Friday. The decision was cancelled because the agreement was given without consulting the hierarchy, said one official. Now, Air France had announced on Tuesday that it would resume service to Mali from Friday after a 2-month suspension amid tensions in the Sahel and between Bamako and Paris. The earlier announcement indicated the resumption of flights would be carried by a third-party aircraft and crew. Air France had said in its announcement that the flights sold by Air France will no longer be operated by the company's own aircraft, but by a Boeing 777-200ER belonging to Portuguese carrier Euro-Atlantic Airways.
Now, American singer Neo has arrived in Zambia for a music festival. We cover that story and more news from Zambia with Mike Sichula after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Now, at least 200,000 vehicles have been removed from the national database for evading road tax for over 5 years. Here to bring us this story and more news is from Zambia, is Mike Sichula.
Well, it actually seems we are having a bit of technical issues. Mr. Sichula hasn't joined us yet, so we will head straight to the weather and try again right after that.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhcom.na.
Now, hopefully, second time is a charm. Good morning, Mike.
Well, good morning, and Africa, good morning to all our viewers.
Good morning to you too. Now, getting into our first story, at least 200,000 vehicles have been removed from the national database for evading road tax for over 5 years.
Can you imagine that you are on the road for over 5 years, you are not paying any tax? What kind of relief? But this is not relief to the road, to the Zambia, to the Road Transport and Safety Agency that has so far registered more than 200,000 vehicles from the National Vehicle Register. According to the agency acting public relations officer Mwakwera Mangola, says that the vehicles had not paid tax for over 5 years, and among those deregistered are PSV buses, while some are non-active. He also advised members of the public, as well as companies who operate vehicles, that processes is ongoing and that failure to comply with the statutory instruments as provided by the law will result in their vehicles being deregistered. Then also the agency has gone further to ask importers of motor vehicles to ensure that their vehicles, those that have just been imported, are registered within 2 weeks, failure to which such vehicles will be impounded. So this is something that the agency is working on to ensure that all vehicles on the road are registered and do not evade tax.
All right, now, Mr. Sichula, political parties have opposed a move pushed by the government directing the groupings to fill vacant positions within 60 days. Please give us the full story.
Yeah, so according to the Registrar of Societies, they have called on all political parties in the country to hold inter-party elections so that those political parties can fill vacant positions within 60 days. So this is what this entails is that most of the political parties, they are close to more than 50 political parties, but those that are very active are less than 10. In terms of, when I say active, is in terms of those that are able to participate in elections. So the Registrar of Societies has noted with concern that most political parties have never, ever since they were held or registered, they have never held intra-party elections to ensure that the people that are in those offices are registered. So, but this move has been condemned by many opposition political parties, including Citizens First leader, Mr. Hari Karawa, who has threatened to take legal action against the Registrar of Societies over the directive. Mr. Karawa says that this is the first time the Registrar of Societies is pushing political parties to hold conventions. But the main background to this issue is that the PF, which is the former ruling party, has been having wrangles and in terms of holding political elections. So this is coming about because there are also rumors that former President Edgar Lungu wants to recontest the upcoming elections. So they want to see whether Mr. Lungu is in active politics or not. So this is the move that the Registrar of Societies is trying to use to check if the former president is engaged in political activism.
Now, in your next story, moving over to entertainment news, and I'm quite jealous. I understand that Neo has arrived in Zambia for the music festival. Can you get into this?
Yes, he arrived yesterday to a thunderous welcome at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. There you can see him there. So Neo is coming to participate in the Stanbic Bank Music Festival. So Stanbic Bank has been organizing such gigs for the last 5 to 7 years. So what they do is that they bring musicians from, most of them come from the United States of America, those that have been popular in the 90s, even the 80s. So Neo is the headliner for this year's Stanbic Bank Music Festival. So the festival will take off this weekend for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. So among the musicians that who Ketenreza Neo include Sampa the Great, who's so popular across the world. And there are also other Zambian musicians that are popular that are going to be performing to the clouds for 2 nights. So this is one of the biggest, musical festivals that Stanbic Bank has been organizing, and they have been known to organize stars of yesteryears, and Neo is one of them that is featuring at this year's Stanbic Music Festival.
All right. I mean, I think if we get on a flight now, we'll still be able to
make it right.
Now, Mr. Sichula, as briefly as you can, Zambia and Egypt played yesterday. What were the results?
Well, Zambia and Egypt, yes, played yesterday in Abu Dhabi, and Zambia lost by a goal to nil. They conceded in the dying minutes of added time. So Zambia is having 2 friendlies in the Abu Dhabi as they prepare for the next Africa Cup of Nations, as well as the World Cup qualifications. So it ended in a loss for Zambia. They put up a spirited fight against Egypt, inspired by Mohamed Salah. But in the 4th minute of the added time, Zambia conceded when defender Suzu failed to clear an aerial ball, which Fati of Egypt pounced and scored to give the Pharaohs of Egypt a 1-0 lead over Zambia, who have not beaten Egypt since 2016.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sichila, for bringing us the latest news on the ground in Zambia. We'll now take a quick, and I mean a very quick commercial break, and return with our economic news.
Getting into our economic news, Moody's downgraded 5 Egyptian banks, including the largest private bank, after it downgraded the country's sovereign rating over its worsening debt affordability. The agency said state banks National Bank of Egypt, Banque Messier, and Banque de Caire, as well as privately owned Commercial International Bank to CAA1 from B3, Moody's said in an investor note seen by Reuters on Wednesday.
The South African presidency has a plan to reverse the collapse of a state-run ports and freight rail sector that's cost the economy at least $26.7 billion since 2010, hand over most of the responsibility for fixing it to the private sector.
Let's take a look at our economic indicators before we get into your sporting news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with Rugby World Cup 2023 currently taking place in France, and the big quarterfinals coming up this coming weekend, and team news coming in is mostly to do with team selections. It's Ireland that play against New Zealand. That's on Saturday in the 1 quarter-final in Paris, and the good news for Ireland is that the wing Mac Hansen is declared fit to play in the game. He was selected in the starting 15. He had a calf injury, but he was cleared to play. Andy Farrell, the coach of Ireland, he selected the same 15 run on 15 that played in the last game, and it will also be 2 new players that will be on the bench for Ireland. That's because of injury. It is James Ryan, the lock. He's injured. He injured his wrist, and he's out of the quarter-final. And the 2 replacements coming in is Joe McCarthy and also Jimmy O'Brien. The news from France is that Captain Antoine Dupont, the 26-year-old captain of the French rugby team, will definitely play against South Africa. That's on Sunday. That's also in Paris in their quarter-final game. And it's forward coach of France, that is William Sevay, that said that he confirmed that Antoine Dupont is 100% ready. That's according to him. It's not all the reports was that he's 100% ready. He's got a cheekbone injury that he sustained on the 21st of September. That was against Namibia. And that injury normally takes 6 weeks. He's on to 4 weeks now, but France say that he's cleared to play and he's 100% fit. News from South Africa is that the South African team management said that they're happy with the referee that was appointed for the game, that important quarter-final on Sunday. Ben O'Keefe of New Zealand will be the referee in the game against France. Ben O'Keefe also had the whistle when South Africa played against Ireland and lost that game. Moving on to tennis news, and it's a Shanghai Masters that continue. And the big news from the men's tennis tournament is that number 1 seed Carlos Alcaraz, he's out of the tournament. He lost in the round of 16. He lost to Dmitry Dimitrov, and it is Dimitrov that's number 18 seed in the tournament, and he won by 5-7. 6-2 and 6-4. It's a Dimitrov that will now play against Nicolas Jarre, and Jarre is 25th seeded. Also, it is Andrei Rublev. He's the number 6 seed. He's safely through to the quarterfinals. He beat Taylor Paul by 7-5, 7-5. And it is Rublev that will now play against Hugo Humbert. He is from France. Quite an impressive victory for Hugo Humbert against JJ Wolf of the USA. The score there was convincingly 6-1 and 6-2. Continuing with tennis news, and that is related to Rafael Nadal. And Rafael Nadal confirmed that he will play in the Australian Open, that is in January 2024. He's been out of tennis for the whole year of 2023. He had an injury, a hip injury in January already, also in the Australian Open, and had hip surgery in June. And apparently he's back to full fitness again, or getting back to full fitness. And he indicated that he will play the full 2024 season and retire after the 2024 season. He's 37 years old now, Rafael Nadal, and he's won 22 times major tournaments. Also news in the tournament are some other players coming back on the women's side of the tour. That is Naomi Osaka, that is apparently going to be back also for the Australian Open, and Angelique Kerber also making a comeback to play again in the Australian Open in January. Closing off today's international sports news with golf news, and it is An Banyung-han. He is from South Korea. He's been banned for 3 months by the PGA. That was for a banned substance that he used. He is banned for 3 months. He can play again on the 1st of December. An won the BMW Championship on the PGA in 2015, and he also played in the President's Cup team in 2019. And he is 53rd in the world, and apparently he got the medicine through a cough medicine. That is what he claimed, and he got it over the counter in his own country in South Korea, but it's banned by the PGA, so he can't play any professional golf for 3 months. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
You're still with Africa. Good morning. For those of you that are just joining us, here are the news highlights. Dr. Nandipha Magudumana opens case over alleged prison assault. Peacekeepers suspended over sex abuse claims in DR Congo. Moody's downgrades 5 Egyptian banks by 1 notch.
And with that, we've come to the end of our broadcast. Do remember that you can catch Africa Good Morning next week, same time, same place. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And me, Diana Master. We do hope you have yourselves a lovely weekend ahead.